Here.
Mrs. Stewart.
Here.
Mr. Bachman.
Here.
Mr. Sbss.
Here.
Mr. McIntyre.
Present.
Mrs. Neal. Here. Mr. Ritter.
Here.
Mrs. Warning. Here.
Okay, do we have any comments from residents on agenda items?
Cheryl Boyce, Monroeville. This Axis architect piece that you're going to hire to oversee any construction projects or whatever, when you do this, how many school districts you usually call to get any kind of feedback about their work?
I don't have the exact number that we contacted. We do know that Norwin was one, Latrobe.
Do you have any?
You spoke to them directly, some of them in the district spoke to them directly about how the projects went.
Yes.
So we know Norwin and Latrobe, but you personally never dealt with them before?
Oh, yeah, we've had multiple experiences with Axis in the past, yes.
You have?
Yes.
Okay. So Norwin and Latrobe you know of, but
Yes.
you don't know anybody?
And there's some other districts, I just don't have that information right here, right now.
We can get that to you,
Yeah.
Cheryl. I
Yeah,
don't know
I'm
if you
just-
recall,
I'm
but
just-
about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we put this out for bid.
Yeah.
So all these firms submitted
Yeah.
significant packets of information, including references, other projects that they had done,
Multiple
dollar amounts of
interviews,
those
yes.
projects.
Been a long
It was a long
Yes.
process.
Yeah, I realize, I'm just curious as to the history of this particular one, which, I mean, it's easy enough to track them down. Because some architects don't necessarily focus just on schools. They have a tendency to do across-the-board kind of projects. So this one is particularly focused on schools?
That
This
is
is their
correct.
primary consideration?
They were also involved in our project at Gateway High School 18 years ago with the renovation, including the new auditorium.
Okay.
The lead architect is also the lead architect of that process is also the lead architect at Axis now. His name's
Okay.
Craig Collins, who was our architect then.
Okay, so you're using them just to do all the blueprints and the specs and the whole 9 yards and whatever, and if we get into construction, you're gonna have a project manager separate from them?
That is correct, yes.
Okay, all right. You just have to keep these people real honest, especially not knowing who they're gonna bring in or
Yes.
who's gonna work with them in conjunction, because a lot of them work with same people over and over and over again. Okay.
Subcontractors included.
Yeah, I mean, you don't wanna get, change order to death. I'm just curious.
No, and in fact, whenever we had spoken with Axis, I would say a few weeks ago, we were reviewing some of their completed work, and one of which was Latrobe Elementary School, which is a K-6 building. Am I saying that accurately, Bob? Yes. And one of the things that they highlighted was the change order process, and they were very low. I want to say maybe $10,000. That was it, which is unheard of in a project that size.
Yeah, yeah.
So they've done some excellent work. out there.
Excellent work. Yeah, when you said about they had already worked at the high school, I was hoping you were going to say when they did the swimming pool and they did the other renovations when the windows were put in the wrong
No,
way.
it's completely separate.
It's a totally different project. Okay, well, thank you very much.
Thanks, Cheryl. Is there anyone else who wanted to comment on agenda items? Okay. Seeing none, let's go to bills and financial reports, section B.
Thank you, Mrs. Ritchie. Section B. We have Section B1 list of bills for a month of September 2019 and Section B2 monthly financial statements for a month of August 2019. We have present both these sections this evening for the board's review.
Did anyone have any questions for Mr. Schott? Mrs. Warning? Did you have a question?
No.
Okay. Moving on to section C, items previously tabled, we have none, so that moves along to section D, personnel matters.
Thank you, Mr. Ritchie. Under resignations, we have 8 listed this evening, 3 leave of absence, 4 transfers for the collective bargaining agreement. We have an employment for a temporary teacher that's retroactive back to August 23rd. Extension of the superintendent contract, set the school police hourly rates, supplemental contracts, and volunteers.
Thank you. I'd like to open it up for discussion. Questions for Mrs. Crump? Everybody's in a very quiet mood this evening.
We'll take
You're
it.
getting off the hook easy. Okay, if you have any questions for Mrs. Crump, you have a week to call her. Section E, conferences and conventions. We have a few of those.
Thank you, Ms. Ruthie. Under Section E, conferences and conventions, we have 4 conferences and conventions for discussion. The first, Stephanie Ruby to the Boys Town Specialized Classroom Management, and Paul Schott, Patricia Crump, and Julie McEwen to the PASBO Conference.
Questions, comments? Paul, couldn't you find a PASBO conference in a warmer climate?
Good, great conference.
Section F, administrative reports. We do have an action item tonight.
Resolved that the Gateway Board of School Directors approves and authorizes the following items listed in Section F, Administrative Report Action Agenda, at the study session meeting of Tuesday, September 10th, 2019. Specifically, item number 1, approve the AIU sponsor food service contract to provide snacks for the YMCA after-school program at Mosside Middle School for the 2019-2020 school year as depicted in Exhibit A. And item number 2, approve the purchase and installation of the new phase part to fix the transformer for the Gateway High School Stadium from Scott Electric in the total amount of $40,129 as a capital repair project to be completed during the 2019-2020 fiscal year. Note, the above capital repair project is an emergency repair project and was not budgeted for in the district's capital reserve fund budget for the 1920 fiscal year. The cost of required installation is yet to be determined. Some other capital repair projects that were less than budgeted will enable the district to cover the cost of this emergency repair. An insurance claim has also been filed with the district's insurance carrier to determine if the equipment breakdown is a coverable event. Thus, the district may only need to pay for the applicable deductible.
We hope.
So moved.
Second.
Okay, open up for discussion. Mr. Brown, maybe for sake of transparency, can you just step up to the mic and explain what happened the other day with the transformer?
And then maybe just speak on the process of how we went about selecting the company to do the repair and all those good things.
Well, the transformer which runs the entire stadium, press box, 2 concession stands, and the scoreboard has an alarm built into it. The alarm went off for high heat. We addressed that, had some concerns, called in our engineers from EADS with their electrical engineers because it's a pretty large piece of equipment. It was beyond their electrical engineer's capability. He helped us and got a hold of an industrial testing agency to be able to come in to test the transformer itself to find out all the facts of what was going on with it. It was determined that one of the phases, there's 3 within it, was totally shot. It was melting down, literally. When we caught it with the alarm system we have, we were able to really head off a catastrophic issue. Could have exploded. Just like it is on a telephone pole. You see them from time to time. This is much, much larger. So through that process, we were able to call Siemens. It's a Siemens product. So through Siemens, we had to get that exact fit, that was sent out. So that's how we came about the contractors to do that. We got Siemens involved, had their folks out here to look at it. They were able to set it up with Wellington Power. There's not a whole lot of people that can do these kind of things. They were able to get right on it for us and go through Scott Electric. It's not like we had a lot of time to put it out to bid, nor is there just people to do that. We were in an emergency, and that was well beyond my means and EAD's means, and we had to go to somebody that was really qualified to get the right people in here. So
Circumstances surrounding it,
well,
worst possible time. We had
obviously
just started up school, a number of events.
football season, we we're able to secure a generator to run the entire stadium during events. We don't run it all day. We only run it during the event times to have it. And like I said, it has been removed, sent out. The process is about 4 weeks to have it rewound and reinstalled. So that's where we are with it right at the moment. To buy something or manufacture new, which is really no different than what they're doing with the rewinding, was a 12-week process. So in order to get this back in a timely fashion, if that's what you consider 4 weeks, that's what we had to do.
So is it all right if I commend Mr. Brown on
Yes.
an extraordinary
Absolutely.
recovery? That was incredible, the way you were able to handle that.
Well, we have
With
good
my geek
people.
hat on, I'd love to see the rewinding of the coils process.
Well, I have
What's
plenty
that?
of pictures of the meltdown.
Bob was up in my office immediately, briefed me. You know, I quickly responded to the board leadership and then to the board in general. And we had to make a decision to ensure that the operations of the school were continuing. And Bob and his crew did an incredible job of just maintaining that. We had items in the refreshment stand, so it's something that we had to jump on quickly.
One question that has come up, and can assure you it had no bearing on this transformer, was the new scoreboard. Had absolutely nothing to do with what happened. It's, even the folks at Siemens are perplexed on why it failed in 15 years.
Which is why Mr. Shaw is trying to see if it's covered under our insurance deductible.
Correct.
We've been working with them. They're looking at it. It looks pretty positive at this point.
Okay, so we'll vote to approve it, and then maybe we'll get the money back through our insurance. Anyway, is there any other questions before we have a vote? Okay, roll call.
Mrs. Rucci.
Aye.
Mr. Robin. Mr. Lapsevich. Mr. McIntyre. Mrs. Neely. Mr. Ritter.
Aye.
Mrs. Warning. Mr. Bova.
Motion carries. We do have other items for discussion only in section F.
Start with Dr. Rossi under Education Elementary.
Sure. Thank you, Dr. Short. Item number 1, approve the purchase of the safety and security measures for Divine Mercy Academy through the use of their share of the Title IV funds. Item number 2, accept the donation of $10,000 from Burlington and their Adopt a Classroom program. Item number 3, approve the non-public Title I agreement with Catapult Learning. And item number 4 is approval for the district to pursue the flexible instructional day as outlined by the PA Department of Education.
For item number 5, we have a proposal to create an esports team at Gateway High School. Esports refers to organized multiplayer video gaming competitions for our students. A staff member will serve as the general manager of the esports team and will receive a $750 stipend each semester that is paid by the Emerald Foundation. Item number 6, professional meetings and trainings. We have 2 of our Gateway police officers going to attend the basic SRO training. And we also have student assistant program teams, various dates throughout the school year. Item number 7, facility agreements, Gateway High School girls soccer boosters, and Gateway High School wrestling, Eastern Area Wrestling Tournament at Gateway High School Sports Complex.
Item number 8 is the Eastern Area Special Schools election of officers, approval of the Eastern Area Special Schools Joint Committee, mail ballot, and approval of the officers for the Joint Board of School Directors as depicted in Exhibit C.
Item number 9 is approve the Student Transportation of America, a list of school bus drivers and monitors for the 1920 school years depicted in Exhibit D. Item number 10, accept the following district donation received during the 1920 fiscal year, specifically $250 gift card from Aldi for the backpack program over at University Park Elementary School. Item number 11, approve the purchase of the acoustical ceiling panels for the Ramsey Elementary School gymnasium from Atlas Wholesale Supply Incorporated in the total amount of $15,570.88 as a capital repair project to be completed during the 1920 fiscal year. Note the above capital repair project is budgeted for in the district's capital reserve fund budget for a 1920 fiscal year with an estimated cost of $31,500. Thus, the actual cost of the capital repair project is $15,929.12 under the budget amount. Item number 12, recognize the following district booster clubs and support organizations who have properly submitted applications to the district for the 1920 fiscal year as depicted below. Also, please note, the above groups do not represent all the district's booster clubs and support organizations for the 1920 fiscal year. Additional booster clubs and support organizations will be presented for approval later in the 1920 fiscal year by season and as they properly submit their completed applications to the district. Item number 13, approve Axis Architecture PC to serve as the district's architect of record for development of bid specifications for applicable district capital repair, renovation, and construction projects per the fee schedules depicted in Exhibit E.
Thank you. Questions or comments?
I have a question.
Go ahead, Mr. Goldman.
Under education, secondary, item number 5, esports team. As someone who does enjoy video games from time to time and can understand there's some educational value with it with strategy and problem solving. Kind of curious how this came about. I've seen some esports on TV and it's pretty crazy. Lots of sponsors, tons of people watching it. Very competitive. So I'm kind of curious, how, if any of these can be answered, how did this come about, and are there any details as in how the gaming systems will be acquired? I know with esports, they have sponsorships. Is that going to be involved? Will this be treated as an extracurricular activity? Just kind of curious.
First, it'll be treated as a club. And we could look at, as we move down the road and potentially putting something in the program of studies. But this is we attended a meeting at the AIU, and it was unbelievable to see how this thing has taken off. I guess here in the United States, we're behind at times as far as the esports goes. They were showing in other countries like Japan, just millions of kids playing these games and millions of dollars being thrown into the mix here. And it's not just about the video games and just sitting and playing. This gives our students an opportunity to grow as entrepreneurs. They can do some things like comprehend and optimize the computers, learn about writing code, starting their own brand, all within the software agency. And when we first off think about esports, I right away thought about Xbox or PlayStation. This particular branch of it, while you can be on Xbox and PlayStation, but it's mainly PC gaming. And I spoke with Micah, and we have the adequate equipment at the high school to start this club. We just need to look at how we can get a sponsor going, which shouldn't be difficult. And it's very interesting. They can start a scrimmage with another esports team in a video game. They can enter tournaments. They can go do all kinds of different things while learning coding and computer software along the way.
And these games will be chosen and monitored appropriately, correct?
Exactly. No, there won't be a situation where there's any games that have content that is not suited for school.
So Brian, you wondering the same thing I am, is there an age limit? What about the kids?
Yeah, that's a good question. Is there an age limit?
Well, right now, this pilot program would just be 9 to 12, but they're looking at branching off into the middle school because they're finding in these other districts, it's so popular, the kids can't wait to get into high school to jump into this program.
And we can certainly set up a scrimmage.
Just kidding.
That could be the practice round.
Board members down here, online, right here so we can view it.
Very good.
This month is we're talking about the donations. I received a donation for the backpack program in the amount of $20,000. I wanted to give to Mr. Schott. So,
You want to acknowledge who the person who was that gave it, Val?
it's anonymous.
She said it was an anonymous donation. It's very generous.
And I just wanted to thank the board for supporting all 4 elementary schools to be on board this year. Thanks.
Thank you.
Well, to the person who gave that anonymous donation, many thanks on behalf of the Gateway School District and the Gateway School Board. Thank
And
you.
to Val for finding it.
Yes.
I keep out of it. I don't want anything from it.
Nice job,
It's
Valerie.
for the kids. I do it for the kids.
Are there any other questions on any items in section, where are we? F. Okay. We have no section G, so that opens it up to comments from residents on non-agenda items. Mr. Elms, you're up, sir.
Bob Elms from Monroeville. Good evening. I have a community request, and the good news is it's not going to cost any money at all.
We like this.
And the request is, can the administration give a monthly update of the equity programs and the successes in those programs in the district as a part of the superintendent's report? And I just read your agenda, so I now know what to call it. I'm a member of a number of community groups, and I don't pretend to represent these groups, but I do talk to people. And this is something that's commonly interested within the community. Gateway is a school district that celebrates its diversity, while there are school districts that struggle with their diversity. In 2016-17 district report by Dr. Short, he had a quotation, and it took several, this is a quotation, "It took several years for principals and teachers to get the focus off demographics, which they could not control, and onto curriculum, increased and quality of instruction, which they could control." Gateway's been on that diversity path, searching for solutions. Then I listed, part of that path. In 2015, we had an equity report for the school district. 2016, you had the achievement gap. That ran for a year, and in 2017, they gave a report. At the end of 2017, we hired a part-time equity director. In 2018 or 19, we had a report from that equity director. And now I think we'd like to know what's going on. Gateway is not the school district it was 50 years ago. Equity in education across race, ethnicity, and economic boundaries is a real concern. Equity does not mean equality. In a book I read, they had a nice description between equity and equality. Equality is giving every student exactly the same things to achieve the exact same goal. Equity means holding students of differing needs to a single expectation, but giving students those things that they need to meet those expectations. Kids have different needs. Some kids will enter school with zero education, and other kids will have 3 years or 4 years of school when they enter school. There's not an equity there. So the achievement gap is just an indicator of the need for equity. Gateway clearly recognizes that different students have different needs. Reducing and eliminating the achievement gap depends on identifying and using things that underachieving students' needs. And I know Gateway is doing that now. So Gateway does have a multifaceted equity plan. I'm pretty sure things are happening. I see them. I would just like to ask you to tell the community what's going on, because we're interested, and I think that's great. Thank you.
Thank you, Bob. There's no doubt that this district, over the last 4 or 5 years, has been committed to this issue, and we're not stopping by any means. And I know Dr. Chakey has been appointed the Director of Equity within the district. We talk about it almost daily, the things that have happened even from day one of our school with teachers coming back. So I can defer to Dr. Chakey if you would like to quickly summarize our efforts at this point.
Myself, Dr. Short, and Dr. Rossi, when we got together and we started thinking about our strategic plan framework, equity was right at the cornerstone. I mean, it's impossible to think that we're going to address equity sporadically. So everything that we do, all the initiatives that we have, is sprinkled in with equity. It's the cornerstone of what we're thinking about. And we realize that not one person can do this. Not one person can step into a district and lead all the equity initiatives. So our thinking is that we wanted to foster leadership in every facet that we possibly could. So what we did is we've been relying on the expertise of our teachers. I can't say enough, and I would say the last couple months, we have so much momentum going as far as our equity work, that it is just unbelievable. And it's not because of us, it's because of the people within our district that are jumping on board. We have a Gateway School District Equity Committee. In addition to the three of us, Mr. Rocco Telly, the middle school principal, Mr. Mike Jack, principal of CSE. It's made up of teachers, Sharita Allen, the Gateway Middle School teacher, Mr. Richard Campbell from the high school, a teacher. We also have Betty Howard, counselor from Mosside Middle School, is on this committee, and also April King, a teacher from Evergreen Elementary. And it has been excellent. We've done so much work in the past couple months as far as taking a look at national models. We wanted to see how can we be supported more. We looked at national models. We came to the consensus, though, they all have the same commonality, that we'll throw out words and we'll throw out phrases, equity, culturally responsive pedagogy. But then what's next? What I like about this group of educators is we kind of embrace this idea of we're not going to talk about it, but we're going to be about it in everything that we do. Because enough talk. We could have seminars and we could all talk about things and how we need equity, but we got together and we thought, how are we going to make this at the classroom level to make sure that we're aligned to strategic theme number one, assuring a positive and supportive environment for all students. What's this going to look like? So our equity team started to etch out some ideas around culturally responsive pedagogy. Now, teachers are evaluated through Charlotte Danielson's framework for teaching, and they eventually get the 82-1 at the end of the school year. We know that culturally responsive pedagogy has to be in there somewhere, and it is. But what we've done is we've pulled these critical attributes out. For example, we identified across the framework all these different components. We identified 9 power components that are CRP, culturally responsive pedagogy power components. And we've identified the 9. Principals are talking to teachers about this. Teachers are getting some of this information through the induction program that's going on right now. And it's been excellent. When you look at component 1B, right within the evaluation tool, it demonstrates knowledge of students. We're already talking about this in pre-conferences during the planning and preparation with teachers. It looks at, is the teacher sitting back and planning a lesson that takes into account a student's cultural heritage? It's right there within the plan, the critical attributes. So we're taking advantage of that during the pre-conferences with teachers and with principals to make sure that everyone's on the same page as that. A lot of the literature from Latz and Billings talks about the fact that within a discussion, students should be able to voice their opinions, and they should be able to lead the discussion and have critical thinking activities and things of that nature. Instead of just throwing it out there, we look into the framework component 3B, using questioning and discussion technique right within our evaluation tool. We want to get to the level where teachers can scaffold the learning and then they step aside as a facilitator. It's written right in there with the critical attributes. So this is what we're looking at when we do walkthroughs. So it's down at the building level already. The professional development opportunities, the back to school event that we had, Dr. April King and Dr. Janet Neithamer did an excellent job in showing teachers culturally responsive practice within the classroom. Not just talking about it, but breaking down instructional practices to look for, providing examples, going through social studies, going through math, going through science. It has been excellent. So there's a lot, there's just so many moving parts as far as this is going right now, and we couldn't be happier. Dr. Rossi went into EduPlanet with April King, and she has been creating these learning modules within EduPlanet. EduPlanet is just a software that you can go into and go through learning modules and learn about culturally responsive pedagogy. So Dr. April King has been setting those up with the assistance of Dr. Rossi, and it's been excellent. I mean, just this whole idea of fostering leadership within others, because we know it's important to us, and it's going to be embedded within all of our work. We're branching off into school leadership teams, the school-based equity teams, to where we have our GSD equity committee, the district committee, and they're going to be in contact with the school equity team, and that's going to be going down to the teachers, to all staff members, counselors, school police, everyone within the building. So everyone's on the same page and remaining focused on equity. Myself and Dr. Rossi, we're going to be meeting with principals and what we're calling school leadership meetings, where equity is going to be the focus there as well. We're going to look at student data. We have folders for each of the schools that takes a look, like you said, and we fully believe that. We're not talking about equality, the same for everyone. We're talking about equity, where if there's a particular student that needs more, we're going to provide that. We're putting together student cohort folders for each school. And myself, Dr. Rossi, and Dr. Short, we're going to go into the schools, look at the student data for these students, maybe the attendance, discipline data, and everything down along the line so that we can make sure that we're supporting the students how they need to be. So, and we could definitely provide a report, a mid-year report, end of the year report. Yeah, we're excited.
If I could just add, all of the educational periodicals that are coming out address the equity issue in education. And we have been contacted by multiple school districts, and I would say Minnesota, the state of Minnesota, we had a superintendent call us just from doing Google searches on achievement gap and equity and all the work that we've done internally within the district. So the word is out there, and Gateway's being contacted by outside districts concerning what we're doing for equity.
And I just add, Mr. Alms, you know that this was, as I ran for board, this was an issue that was very near and dear to my heart. It's something I was, something I was definitely taking a look at as I ran. It's one of my campaign issues. And after being here for almost 2 years, I'm immensely proud of the work that this administration has done, dealing with a lot of different situations, and just the proactiveness of this administration and the way that they're, like you said, reaching out to build leadership and really activating everybody within the district to get excited about this. I'm proud of the achievements we've made and the steps, the gains we've made, but more importantly, I'm excited that they're not happy with that and that they're not satisfied, and they're going to keep pushing forward to keep building equity. So thank you guys. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak on non-agenda items? No? Okay, let's move on to reports. Would you like to go next, Dr. Short?
Just like to thank everyone. We hit, I believe, day 10, which is always like the magic day when we check enrollment and make sure everyone is accounted for. But it's been a wonderful start. We visited every building, each one of us, and it's just exciting to see the students, the teachers hard at work, and everything's going well at this point. So thank you.
Great. How about you, Mrs. Bungart? Do you have anything to report?
Nothing at this time.
Dr. Chickie, I'll skip you. Dr. Rossi? Mr. Shaw?
Yes, actually I do. Just an update on our bond refinancing process. I have been working with representatives from Piper Jaffray, and again, that's the district's bond underwriter, the last 2 weeks to update the district's official statement for general obligation bonds, which will be known as Fairly Taxable Series of 2019. Last Thursday, I was interviewed by a rating analyst from Moody's Investors Service to determine whether Moody's would maintain or decrease the district's current bond rating of AA3. If the bond rating is lowered slightly by Moody's, the district will merely acquire bond rating insurance from an insurance company to increase the district's bond rating for a fee that would be settled during the closing process to a greater level than the current AA3 bond rating. The insurance companies look more favorably on the district's financial situation than the bond rating agencies. District is financially strong, as we all know. However, Moody's and all bond rating agencies, such as S&P, actually look unfavorably on entities such as the district with decreasing fund balances over multiple fiscal years. And again, Moody's would like the district's fund balance to be similar to the U.S. median. Again, I've mentioned this statistic during the Budget and Finance Committee process, 22%, or in our case would be approximately $17 million. In my opinion, this size of a fund balance is entirely too high for a school district and is completely unrealistic to maintain. District is projected to end the 1920 fiscal year with a total fund balance of approximately $6.2 million, or approximately 8%. Moody's will release their draft rating documents to the district to review on Thursday of this week. We will have 2 hours prior to formal publishing to review those documents, make any comments, any corrections, whatever the case may be for that. Chris Shelby and Randy Frederick from Piper Jaffray will be in attendance at next Tuesday's regular board meeting to provide a final update as well as to answer any final questions regarding the district's bond refinancing. Per my phone conversation with Randy Frederick today, the market is still yielding savings greater than the board designated minimum of $750,000. And at this time, it is anticipated the new bonds will be sold at market next Wednesday, which will lock in the final bond rates and the final net savings amount for the district.
Great. Thanks for that update, Mr. Shaw.
Welcome.
Mrs. Crump?
Yes, at this time, the district is posting for part-time opportunities for individuals who would like to work in as a paraprofessional, playground aide, food service department, and substitute custodian. If you're interested and want a little extra time that you can bring home some Christmas money or whatever, please contact us in the Human Resource Office and we'll get you started. We also are advertising for our volunteer clearance workshop that will be at the high school next Tuesday from 3 to 6. For any volunteers who do not have access to a computer or need help getting their clearances, we'll be able to help you with that. There is a flyer on the website that tells you all the information that you'll need to bring with you. You'll have to have like a list of all the addresses of any place you've ever lived. You'll need a listing of all the people that you've lived with, and several other things. So if you would like to come to the workshop, please feel free to call us. We'll give you more information, and we'll be there to help you.
Great, thank you. Mr. Ritter?
Yes, I will not be here in person next week. I'll be in Atlanta and then in Santa Clara, California, talking about SHIFT, S-H-I-F-T, School Health Innovation Functional Framework Project that I'm working on. So I might be able to dial in, but I might be at the airport. So that's my report.
Thank you, John.
Thank you. Mrs. Warning?
Just thank you again for supporting the backpack program, and that's it.
Thank you. Mr. Lepsovich?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Dr. Rossi, Dr. Shaky, and my superintendent for their superb work they've been doing the last 4 years I've been on board. I appreciate that. I'd like to say thank you to the anonymous donor, the $20,000 to the backpack program. Also, I would like to give my heartfelt sympathy out to the Vecchio family of Rollo Vecchio that died suddenly last week. He was a great husband, a great father, an excellent grandfather, and most of all, he was a superb politician in Pitcairn. May he rest in peace. Thank you.
Thank you, George. Mr. Bova?
Thank you. Just a couple short things. It came to my attention just last week that there's a group of alumni from the early 60s who band together and have a reunion every year, which is pretty cool. And they've been doing it now for a few years, and it always seems to coincide with a home football game. I don't know if that's a plan or not, but if indeed it happens next year, I'd like to see some way the district could welcome them, publicly. Come on, maybe on the field. We got that spectacular scoreboard. Bill, you're probably in that group. Oh no, 60s. I'm sorry. So I think that would be a good way to, try to get the older folks who helped build this school to participate in some way. And the other thing is, last year the Black Student Union really kind of hit the ground running, and I think I'd like to extend them an invitation to come back here and tell us a little bit about what they're aiming to do this year, if they have any particular plans, and how we could help them achieve whatever goals they have. So there you go, Black Student Union, let us know, okay? And that's it, thank you.
Thank you. Do you have anything, Mr. Reyes?
No.
Okay, Mr. McIntyre?
Yeah, excuse me. I don't have much. I just wanted to kind of touch upon what Mr. Lapsovich said earlier. Rollo Vecchio has been, he was a pretty large part of my life from about as far back as I can remember with my dad's relationship with him, with Pitcairn Police and Council. And well, Rollo wasn't always everybody's cup of tea. He was a really good guy, and he was always nothing but generous to me and my family, and he'll be missed. So my condolences to his family.
Thank you, Mr. McIntyre. Mr. Gottman?
Real quick, what everything Dr. Chakey was saying about the equity going on in school, the programs we're trying to get to start this year and what we've done last year. I love how that this school doesn't, stay status quo. We're always evolving, constantly improving, looking at new things that we can do, all in the name of education. So I'm very excited to see what's going to happen this year and years to come. And I also got word that we will be having new artwork at our next meeting, so I'm also looking forward to that. And that is all.
Thank you. Mrs. Neely?
Just thank you, Val, for procuring the backpack donation. That was very nice. Other than that, nope.
Okay, that is the motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
We're adjourned. Thank you.